Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome to our rugby podcast. I'm Ricky Chirengende. I'm here with.
Yasham, Chichomi, thanks for joining us today.
So yeah, this is obviously our brand new show where we're gonna be discussing everything rugby. But this week, particular attention is to the under 20s or out there in Kenya. Nyasha, what do you have to say about the lads who have been prolific and been doing well on the rugby scene?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for these boys. They're playing some outstanding rugby, and they've earned the right to be where they are. And look, we're looking forward to them putting their best foot forward. I think they need no further encouragement or motivational words. You can see it in their faces the last few games they've played that they look determined to go and get gold. Obviously the odds are stacked against them, but I believe if there's a team which is going to do it from Zimbabwe, I think these are the lot.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of odds, we've seen crazy sports stories. We've watched movies. We've watched, dramatic turns in coming in sport. But just chatting about these guys in more detail. You obviously know them very well. Some of the guys have come through you at Kyros, at Zimanda 18 sevens. What do you think has been the main ingredient to the success of this current crop of under-20s?
I think what's unique to them, which is different from the rest of the teams in Africa, is that the particular coaching group which is working with this has taken a step further and worked with Harare Rugby and all the different provinces to start an under-20 league.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key. That was the biggest change for me in terms of the previous sides, which were not doing so well in the last maybe 5 to 10 years ago, was that there wasn't an active under-20 league post-school. So what we have now is a vibrant league where the kids are coming. There's several teams playing week in, week out, and the kids are battling it out. So they become battle-hardened, so to say, and that prepares them well for, they're still at that age where they need to play more games.
Absolutely. Which has always been the case, right? I mean, I was down in South Africa for a good 12 years, and the rugby scene there is vibrant. Guys play rugby from as early as late February to as late as September. And I compare it to and I'm talking obviously about the schoolboy league where our rugby spans from about 3 months and there's about 8 weeks of rugby, which is probably about a third of what South Africans play. And if you tally that over the years, you find that there's a big gap in terms of our of the pictures that we see on the rugby field, because we're just not playing as much. So I do agree. One point I want to throw at you though, which I think is also relevant, is if you look at this current group of under-20s, there's a lot of guys that have come in to feed into the team, but they've come in from either South Africa, they've come in from the UK, they've come in from wherever, and they're bringing all this wealth of knowledge and this intellectual rugby IQ, and they're feeding it into the team. Is this something that was always there with our previous under-20 sides?
Yeah, I think not at the extent that this has happened. I think Coach Sean has done a good job in roping in kids who not necessarily didn't grow up in a Zimbabwe schools system, who've come in with different flavors from different parts of the world. You look at the fullback Benoni, who's been outstanding.
Yeah.
He learned at Kingswood in South Africa. And in South Africa, you do know how much they put emphasis on that fullback position and the ability to kick, which is something which doesn't happen in Zim. In Zim, most of the time when we select a fullback, we are looking for someone who can step, who's got space, who can break the line. But he's shown us that the modern fullback, which we need as a country, is someone who's got tactical kicks, knows how to grab those high balls and place them well. And of course, he's got a bit of speed and ball skills. He's got a long pass, so when he catches it deep and he runs up and he has to pass it 20 meters to the left or to the right, he's able to hit that target. And he's a brilliant rugby IQ, similar to what New Zealand has done with putting a fly off at fullback. Sean has gone the same because Benoni has got experience at fly off as well, so he can be that other general at the back, and he takes play in his own way. And even if you look in some of the other strategic positions like Shingi Manyara, he led also down south. There's a few guys there, and I mean, just going through that list, You also have got Brendan Jemison, who played wing out there in SA, a position where, in Zim, we're always looking for just someone with pace, but out there internationally, they also look at that wing almost being like another flyer position, because there's a lot of decisions you have to make. You're catching the ball, there's someone right in front of you, you have to decide whether to run, chip, pass it back inside, there's a touchline there. There's a lot of decisions the modern day winger has to make, where I think a lot of the general rugby in Zim still has to improve. It's picking a winger because of his IQ as well, which we see in some of those players. Just going through that list as well, we've seen Brendan Marume fly off key position. He's been playing a lot of his rugby in Ireland since finishing at Loma Gandhi. And you can see how, obviously he was brilliant when he was here, but you can see the step up in gear in terms of decision making. Matipano is coming off the bench, so you got a lot of depth there. Guys like Tanaka Ndoro, who also now are learning in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely spot on, and I think that's what I was trying to capture, is that we've like with our rugby that we've grown and we're used to in Zimbabwe. We've also got guys that have obviously gone out there and they've learned a few tricks and they've brought it back, obviously together with the technical team that obviously we're not taking anything away from them. They've been very good to try and piece this puzzle together and come up with a winning combination. And now I just want to talk a bit technically. Obviously, we'll be talking about the structure. We've spoken about things that have worked and things that they've put in place. But I just want to delve a little bit into the technical aspects of this team. Obviously, I've been watching it, and I'm going to speak from the coach's point of view, because I obviously watch games from that point of view. If I'm a coach and I look at that team, the under-20 team, and I look at Tadiwa Chinwada, about 135 kilos, if I'm not mistaken. 137, if you want to be very specific. You look at Brian Chiang, who's also, obviously on those 120, north of 110. You look at Gary Zisenkwe, and you look at all that front row, and you look at the locks, you look at Masterson, you look at Gondom Kanabi, those guys. If you look at that, just that tight five, as a coach, I'm thinking, flip, these guys are going to hurt us up front. They're going to come, they're going to play around the corner, they're going to be bruisers, they're going to, they're just going to dominate at those tight collisions. And as a coach, that's exactly what I'm going to look for. But now, if I look at the team, and they've actually played almost opposite to that. It's a team that likes flick, that likes to throw the ball around, that likes that broken type of rugby. So I think that's been an excellent sort of innovation from the technical team, to try and give that team a bit of blend in terms of just moving the ball around, to have them being very skilled and to have them playing a very dynamic game that you wouldn't find a 137 kg prop trying to play. So technically, I think they've caught a lot of teams unaware with their running rugby, and I think that's been a brilliant part from the technical team.
Yeah, no, it certainly has. We'll take a short little break and be back shortly.
Welcome back, guys. So again, our exciting new podcast with Ricky and Nyasha. Yeah. So obviously we've touched on a lot of things. We can chew the fat of our rugby for as long as we can, but obviously we'll keep it to the most important points. Nyasha, just to wrap it up, tomorrow we play Scotland. What are your expectations?
I think Scotland, obviously, set pieces is their strength. Line out scrums, mauling, that's what they're going to try to do. But I think, our scrum is not so technical. We've got good size and power, but I think that will stand. That will hold up just enough and be competitive just enough. Remember, we don't need to be dominant in all aspects of the game. We just need to be competitive and then rely on our strong...
Can I just interject there? We don't need to be dominant and we don't need to be strong in all aspects of the game, but there's important aspects we need to be strong. So, and I'm going to ask you this, as a coach, set piece, scrums, lineouts.
No, they're important.
First phase ball. That's where I want my job to be done. That's where I am paying a prop to do the job. If he's not going to guarantee me possession, Frans Malebe is not in the Springbok team to carry 20 meters, or is he there to make a last dish tackle? He's there to scrap and to lift in the lineouts. So would you not say that's an important piece of the puzzle that we haven't quite got right?
No, certainly we haven't. But what I'm saying is I'm looking here to also be realistic, right? I'm sure when Argentina select their forward pack, they want to go and be dominant. That's what they're saying. But when they go and face the Springboks, they just want to survive that onslaught, so to say, and then rely on the flair of the back line to hopefully break the line and with. Like I say, that's Scotland's strengths. For us, we are okay there. For the first time, we're actually competitive at lineouts. Brian Chang, he throws them straight relatively. Same as our scrums, we've got good size there. It's going to be tough. I don't care how good your scrumming is, but pushing your kid who's 137 is still pushing 137. It's going to be tough to dominate the Zim scrum. So at least they'll be competitive in that aspect. And then we know how lethal our backline is. We've even had quality players like Panache, Godozori miss out on the team selection. We've had that's where the heartbreak is. You could select 5 other players who are non-traveling reserve or not, who could come here, like the Kaseke boys. Down south they were doing brilliantly, but there's just too much depth here.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, I reckon we'll be competitive just enough in the forwards, set pieces, and then we're going to rely on some smart electric runs and line breaks and footwork from our back. Shadi comes on, tip and chase. Catch it.
You had to mention Shadi.
Yeah, he'll be under the post. He's going to do something wild, a quick tap. He's going to catch someone offside and off guard. So I think Scotland will struggle with our pace and our fitness. You've seen how fit those boys are looking by their last game. They're looking fit. Yeah. And they've played some men's teams. They can take some big hits.
Yeah.
So I'm betting on them. I mean, I'm biased, but
yeah. What's your prediction?
I think it's going to be a close one. Zim by 10 points.
Cool. I should say Zim by 10 points. Tell us what you think. But yeah, an exciting new podcast. Follow us, like, subscribe, and just make sure that you catch this every single week as we bring out all the very best in what's happening in the local scene and beyond. I'm Ricky.
And I'm Nyasha. Remember, our pages are Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, it's Pornhub. It's TikTok now.
It's signing out.
Bye.